Yeah, I thought we had a good first day, a lot of excitement out there, obviously, just like any first day of fall camp. Plenty to coach off of, plenty to look at and correct. Today was really kind of the floor of who we can become, and there's a lot more ceiling to go. A lot of really good competitions. And the good news, anybody can take it, but anybody's not specific. We need somebody to step up at these places that we have battles. And that's really what this first part of training camp's all about, for somebody to step up. And like I said, anybody can do it, all right, but anybody's not specific. We need somebody to take ownership of these battles, whether it's the quarterback position, whether it's the center position, the punter position, at linebacker, at defensive tackle, at corner. We need somebody to step up and be consistent and do the things we're going to ask them to do to be successful and help us win football games. We do have an announcement to make. Due to an NCAA matter that occurred at a previous institution, Benzie Polgar is going to be ineligible this season. We have appealed this decision. We were denied. He is here for camp. He will be with us through this season, but he will be ineligible, and that's about as much as I can tell you. And so with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Coach, last year, heading into fall camp, the big thing for you was energy. On the first day, how did you feel like the energy was out there today? How was it coming out?
It was so-so. I think that's part of that first day vibes where you're trying to figure out exactly what's to be expected. How do we go about this? I anticipate the energy to be a lot better tomorrow, but wasn't a focal point today. Today was more about who are the people that are going to be consistent, who are the somebodies that are going to step up and win these battles for us.
Eli, in that context, how much, what you described at the start, the good news is you got a lot of options. The downside is you're figuring it all out. How much is that invigorating versus challenging, and how much is that going to be, really the story of the next 3 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole story, and it's invigorating because that's why you coach. And that's the beauty of college football, is the opportunity for people to step up and make plays. This is a meritocracy. You get what you earn, and anybody can do it. Anybody on the roster right now can step up and earn playing time, whether it's defense, offense, or special teams. We're no respecter of person, whether scholarship, walk-on, senior, freshman, it doesn't matter. It's about whether or not you consistently perform at the expectation and standards that your coaches have set.
Is that as much or more so as you've ever experienced before with
here?
This many?
It's as much, and that's what I told the team today. We had guys missing the last part of practice because they were cramping. In the past, we would have considered, maybe we don't need it. Man, now we got so many guys, next guy up. It's their responsibility to be ready to play. If they're not, they're going to get passed up. We've got consistent depth at every position on this football team. And if they're not prepared, then we can't count on them.
You're talking about the questions you have to answer, but going into camp, are there areas of this team where you feel like as a coach, hey, I know we're going to have this?
Yeah, absolutely. The overall talent of the team, the depth of the team, feel really strongly about. The competitions to me are just about who's going to step up and who's taking it. It's not areas of concern, really. It's, whoever emerges is going to really strengthen and solidify this team. You've got a lot of experienced players on the defensive side of the ball and on the offensive side of the ball who've been here through multiple training camps with us. They know what to expect. They know the intensity with which we ask them to perform. And so that's always a good thing. You look at the room with you look at the room with, defensively with Martez, Jelani, JC, Ennis, KAD, Isaiah, Trajan, D-Rob, Chad Bailey. Those guys have played a lot of football here. They've been with me the whole time. They know exactly what they're getting out of me on the football field. I know what I'm getting out of them and pushing them to a different level. Offensively, you got Javon Foster, you got X, you got Luke, you got Zeke, you got Toski, you got Barrett. Brady's been here the whole time. Elijah Young's been here the whole time. Those guys know what to expect, and that's a real strength for us. Sean Ketting, Harrison Mevis, all those guys. Golly, I just named a lot. Crap, yeah.
Did you miss anybody?
Probably so.
Eli, where's that situation leave you at center as far as who's competing now?
Yeah, so that situation will be Connor Tollison, Drake Heismeyer, and Richard Taylor. All three of those guys are very capable. I thought they, knock on wood today, we didn't have any snaps that were errant, and so that was exciting to get through a day of practice and not have any bad snaps.
Eli, you might have mentioned this over the months, but I wanted, if you haven't, want to follow up on it regardless. Is it possible you'll go with two quarterbacks, a two-quarterback system, or is your goal to only get one quarterback that's your guy?
My goal is to help us win. So whatever that takes, if we feel like in the first game we need to play multiple people at quarterback, that's what we'll do. If we feel like it gives us the best advantage to play with one quarterback, we play with one. We're not here to make everybody happy. This isn't happiness camp. It's not Club Med. This ain't participation trophy. It's about winning. All right. So whatever gives us the best chance to win. If that's the old Steve Spurrier rotating quarterbacks in every play, great. If it's one guy's got the show, then he'll run the show.
Similarly at running back, just wondering, Cursler said that he was open to sort of all options there with that being run by committee or somebody stepping up like Beatty did last year. Just wondering what your opinion is on that.
Yeah, I mean, we're united in our opinions. So whatever he told you, I promise it's because that's what we told each other. It's what we're going to do. We're open for competition. Whoever takes the job takes it. If nobody takes it, and we'll play to every person's strengths and rotate it through, whether that's a first and second down back, a power back, a blitz pickup, a scat back. Great. If we got one guy that's the whole package, then more power to us. And that's the beauty of being able to get started early, getting more reps. And that's also the beauty of being able to go live a little bit more with this camp. You know, we got enough depth that we can be a physical football team.
Sometimes we jump to conclusions like if a guy's been around for a while, that automatically means he's wise and knows things. So I'm prefacing like that. What can you share with Abraham's experience, the fact he's been around football so long? Does that indeed help him in situations as he prepares to be a leader and a thinker that could potentially be your starting quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, the greatest teacher is experience, and he's got that. Like today, he had a blitz off the edge. He was able to throw away from rotation, got an easy completion on third down, which was awesome. And that's exactly what you expect out of an experienced guy. But in the same token, you know, he missed a 9 ball that would have been a touchdown. So just because you know, still you have to execute, you know. And so it's always going to come down to execution. But the preparation and then the execution is a dangerous combination.
You know, this is probably in that realm, might be hard to describe, but how do you, when you've got 4 guys, how do you begin, how do you do the evaluation day to day? I mean, I assume that's a little more complicated than, you know, a couple, 3 guys at a different position.
Yeah, you know, again, we need battlefield commanders, guys that lead their group. And I think sometimes in quarterback competitions, you try to give everybody like the same number of reps with the ones and the same. That's not how we're doing it. There's no bad. There's a book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. I can't remember who else co-wrote it, but chapter 2 talks about there's no bad teams, just bad leaders. So it doesn't matter if you're going with the 1s, the 2s, the 3s. You get the 4 reps. Do you own the group? Do you lead the group? Do you own everything that goes on? Can you direct the team? Can you get those guys in moving position? Can you take ownership of the good and the bad? And that's what we're looking for at the quarterback position. So regardless if they're going with the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, or just on the sideline signaling, do they own that? And that's really what we need at a quarterback. We need a guy who can lead that group. So yeah, I'm not worried about the dividing of reps and all that. Whoever the leader is going to emerge, and we'll be ready for him.
Obviously, the quarterback position gets most of the scrutiny, and you've talked a lot about the passing game having to be better than it was last year. But in looking back at games last year, how much of that, how much of a leap do you have to see out of your receivers? I mean, kind of helping out whoever's going to be back there.
Yeah, I've seen enough out of those guys to know that they're going to help out whoever. So we'll be able to cut it loose, and I've got to. We got to throw up more and give those guys opportunity to make plays. I mean, you got enough guys that when the ball's in their hand, good things are going to happen. And Toski does proven enough that he can run routes, he can catch vertical throws. So we got to give him opportunities.
I know you said that in Atlanta, kind of being critical of yourself based on last year. Was that something just going back, kind of rewatching self-scouting that you thought, hey, there were some things I could have been more aggressive with last year? Is that kind of how you came to that conclusion?
Yep, I just felt like as a play caller, kind of got into a bunker mentality and tried to outlast the other team, and it worked some games, and in other games it didn't. And that's not who I really am, and that's not what we're going to be about.
Coach, after offseason, so much change and juggling so many different aspects of NIL and recruiting, how does it feel, for you and your staff to get back to camp and focusing on the game itself now?
Yeah, it feels good, man. You got that get that sweat and that your legs are tired and your voice is hoarse from yelling. I mean, that's what it's about. And being focused on your guys and how much better you can make them, and that's the fun part of college football, man. That's the good stuff. Not being able to sleep last night, getting up here early, going out there and watching them yelling, screaming, getting on Sean Kidding because he's punting the ball too far in a warm-up drill. It's beautiful.
Coach, talked to Ennis Rakestraw yesterday. What has it been like for you to kind of see him come back from that ACL? What kind of strength have you seen from him? And, what do you feel like the team can learn from that?
Yeah, I'm proud of Ennis for being out there today. There was a couple of times that somebody in front of him couldn't finish the reps, and so he just jumped right in there. I think one of the things that we all value about Ennis is his toughness. There's no doubt about he's a tough young man, and he keeps on coming, and we just got to continue to work with him to continue to embrace the team and put the team ahead of our own individual goals. But he is a competitor, and his competitive fire, man, I can't wait. I missed all spring being able to watch him versus Luther. That's going to be a good fun matchup because both those guys have a high level of competitive spirit, but we got to make sure it's within the framework of the team.
I know he missed most of the spring, Ennis did, but where's he at right
I
now?
mean, all the spring.
Where's he at right now and with his recovery process?
Yeah, I mean, he's full go, no restrictions, and it's all about just having confidence in his ability, confidence in his knee, confidence in his cutting. But he looks strong. He's worked really hard this summer to be at 100%.
Eli, the more you see Dominic Lovett in the slot,
The more I like it.
how natural the place is at for him on the field.
Yeah, that's where he belongs. So, proud of the way he's really growing up and maturing, and Coach Peeler's done a really good job of just continuing to develop his ability to run routes, change speeds. He's always been a really good hand catcher, and the challenge for us is to find ways to get him touches.
When we talked to him yesterday, I asked him about his freshman year, and he said, I just feel blessed to have gotten a chance to play at all because most guys don't get that chance. I mean, how rare is that to have a guy who has the perspective, I wanted to get more. I felt like it was up and down.
Yeah, I mean, that's good media training by Mari. It's really good media training. Dom's a great young man. He's a competitor. He knows he's talented. He knows that he can help us win, and so it's our jobs as coaches to make sure we're getting him enough opportunities to impact the game. And again, going back and looking at last year, I didn't do a good enough job of getting those guys opportunities.
Maybe this is hard to sum up too, but how much differently do you think you see the job and the landscape now than when you came here at this point? What's in front of you? What needs to get done?
Yeah, that's a funny question because, when I took this job, the dynamics of the job were totally different than they are right now. I think the same premise of why I believe in the potential of Mizzou is still there because of the ability to recruit this state and the high-level players that they have, and I still believe that if we can continue to stir the echoes of the past and reignite that energy in the fan base, I think this could be an unbelievable opportunity for us just because of, again, the Fortune 500 companies, the ability of the 6.5 million people to impact and the footprint that we have to recruit. But the job's a lot different, just because of the landscape of college football, and we got to adapt and adjust. But I still think that the potential of what I believed and dreamed this place could be is right there.
And it's funny too, because obviously you're talking about things like everything from COVID to NIL to portal since in your time here. And
Yeah.
That's obviously had an impact on all of it, but the essence of the job you feel like is very much the same.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I told the team yesterday in my opening address was this is the most excited I've been about a team and really the most comfortable I feel walking in front of this team because everybody chose to be here. The first 2 years there were guys that I didn't recruit and maybe they did or didn't have the freedom to go, or whatever. You have COVID, you got all that other stuff. Man, this is a group of guys who choose to be here, play for each other. and understand what we're asking them to do, and there's power in that. There's power in that choice to be a Tiger, and so I'm excited about continuing to build that with our staff moving forward.
You mentioned back on June 2nd that you were going to wait to start the quarterback competition until Sam Warren came on campus. Now that you've seen him play, what have you liked from him?
I mean, today was day one. I mean, he made some day one mistakes for demotion somebody, some of that kind of stuff. But there's a high level of talent there. And he looked to the wrong side, realized it's flip back, makes the throw to the flat. We still get the play right. I mean, he's got a natural ability to put the ball, finish the threes right there with a touchdown throw that I thought maybe the ball was going somewhere else. So he's got arm talent and sees the field. He's just going to have to pick up the speed of the game and the understanding of the X's and O's, which is kind of what the expectation would be coming into this thing. So, well, thank God Coach Hamden's in charge of getting that right, and I'm just in charge of evaluating it. So.
When you look at Trajan Jeffcoat, what is his ceiling as a Tiger, maybe even as a professional football player?
Yeah, honestly, I'm just trying to make sure that Trajan can be the best version of himself today and be a little bit better tomorrow. I think that when he starts focusing on things way down the road or outside of his control, it gets too much. We need to focus on being present, setting the highest standard for that defensive end room between him and Isaiah being the standard, putting the needs of the team ahead of their own, and he is about that. And he's focused on just the right here, right now. And when he does that, he can be a dominant player for us, down in and down out. And that's what we got to get.
Coach, obviously you split up the responsibilities between assistants a little bit differently in the offseason today, in fall camp, first day. How did it feel to did it feel a little bit more freedom to be able to walk around all the different position groups?
I really enjoyed it in the spring, so it wasn't a ton different today, other than Coach Hamden got the quarterbacks darker green jerseys. I don't know if that was a sign that we're changing quarterbacks coaches. But no, I felt pretty normal. I got to interact. I've been practicing some of my dad jokes most of the summer for these guys and breaking them out. So for the most part, it's about the same.
Can you share one with us?
Nope.
It sounded like you had a joke early on and you complained that nobody heard it. Want to show that joke was not being in practice?
There's so many things that happened in the last 2.5 hours. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Anything else